Die Mathematisch-Naturwissenschaftliche und Medizinische Fakultät der Universität Freiburg verleiht die Würde eines Docteur honoris causa an Professor Paul Julian Weindling, Wellcome Trust Research Professor in the History of Medicine under Brookes University, Oxford.
To me, it was an unexpected honor, but one which I really value and appreciate. In my historical work, one of the things that I look at is how the Nazis took away people's doctorates and academic qualifications as part of their exterminatory efforts for those that they wanted to exclude from the academic community and to stop them from doing further medical and professional work. So it's really the symbolic importance of an academic degree is something which I really do appreciate. I just do it because I feel it's necessary. I feel I feel a compulsion, in a way, to work on a myriad of individuals who experienced all sorts of physical and psychological forms of persecution as a result of the efforts to develop a new National Socialist medicine. A couple of weeks ago I was with two Italian sisters, Adriana and Tatiana Bucci, who were actually researched on by Mengele as if they were twins. Well, they weren't twins. They were one of several fake twins, which is always interesting to see that what the scientist sees, it doesn't actually respond to the reality. But are there many things? Yes, I would say there are. There is an immensity of documentation from this life history point of view. From a perpetrator point of view, maybe slightly less, but from a victim point of view, I work with tens of thousands of life histories, and yes, there is enormous amount to do also on the killing of psychiatric patients, on the tracing of the organs of persons who were killed, where the organs have their own history. They migrate from one institute to another. Research work is continuously done. Then there are some collective burials. One has to reconstruct what was buried by the Max Planck Society in 1990 in a very, very large collective burial, which they thought they were burying everything from the past, but in fact they didn't. They didn't manage to do that because we still keep finding brain tissues of victims held in scientific institutes. So it's a complicated and still unended history from that point of view. Because they saw a research opportunity. They saw a unique opportunity to do large-scale research. Say, if we give the example of Mengele, twins are very rare. It's quite difficult to identify twin pairs, and to identify them if you want to work on large groups of twins. Well, Mengele could stand on the ramp in Auschwitz and could pick out on the train loads, and each train load had 1,000 or 2,000 persons. He could pick out several pairs of twins. So he could collect twins. And for him, this was wonderful research material. So they saw, these Nazi doctors saw unique possibilities for research. Fortunately, and this is one of the puzzles, Mengele at the end, when he had to leave the concentration camp, didn't kill the twins. He left them alive, so many do survive. Unfortunately, his research records are not locatable, but maybe they will resurface one day. In my lecture for the scientific and medical faculty, I spoke about a woman Violette Bloch. She was born in Payerne, and she was deported from Paris to Auschwitz. And the first research that was done on her was on the tissue of the uterus as part of research on cancer diagnosis. And so and this was related to a doctor in Hamburg who had links to the doctors in Auschwitz, so that the research findings using the colposcope for cancer diagnosis actually contribute to an important diagnostic tool for cancer. But it doesn't legitimate what was done to the research victims, and it needn't have been done in the way it was done. So this was opportunistic and unscrupulous research. So it has a very tragic side. Violette Bloch, after she then underwent sterilization, she never could have children, and there was always pain from what was done to her. So I think any findings that resulted needn't have been, it wasn't necessary to research in that way. There are other humane ways to conduct medical research. Well, in order to do the research, I think you have to have empathy for the victims. That means you have to understand what they underwent, and in a way you need compassion and feeling. You need that to reconstruct the past. But at the same time, this is historical research, and you need to you need to have a critical understanding of what you're looking at, and so you need just conventional techniques in terms of source criticism. Testimony is very, very important, I believe, but nonetheless, not all testimony can be taken literally.